Hello and welcome to Midday News. I am Frank Omalape. President Goodluck Jonathan said he's not desperate to continue in office in spite of his sustained campaign for a second term. This, he insisted, is why he's not bothered by things that had been said or written about him in recent times. Jonathan spoke at a public launch of a book, The People's Choice, the story of President Goodluck Jonathan in Abuja. President Jonathan would note that the book provides a near-accurate narrative of his life story, provided promised to write the most accurate one after leaving office.
My second message is to all of us, especially those of us who are politicians, that for all of us who want to serve, we should be ready to serve, but we should not be desperate to serve. Sometimes asking Mr. President, from what we read, from what we see you still smiling and you look so ruffled. Yes, nothing will really ruffle me because I am willing and ready to serve, but I'm not desperate to serve. And if all of us who wants to hold offices, from the list, maybe the councillor of a ward, representing a ward in a local government council, or the chairman of the council, or a member of the State House of Assembly, or a member of the House of Rep, Senate, Governor, or the President, if all of us are always ready and willing to serve our people, but we're not desperate in that mission, then of course Nigeria will be a better place for all of us.
But I had an opportunity to browse through, in fact, the book, and I must say you've done a very good job. And I noticed you even brought back some history, some discussion that we had between Ojukwu and myself, the Aburi Agreement. I was fascinated by that because I can assure you that meeting was really not to commit ourselves to anything that we do not have chance to thoroughly discuss until we return to Nigeria. And the whole thing, was this. It was to break the ice, to allow all of us, the military leaders at the time, myself and all the governors, to be able, to agree now to be discussing our affairs, our problems in Nigeria.
Meanwhile, organizers of the book presentation have said the event has nothing to do with politics, even though it is coming just over a week to the presidential election. They claim that the timing of the biography was just coincidental.
This book had been in production for about 1.5 years. The process of producing a book, for me, this is the first time I was involved in coordinating the publication of a book. And it took 1.5 years to get this book produced. The timing has to do with the production, and when the book was ready, it's just a coincidence. It's coming at this time, and for me, it's the right time that the book is coming at this time.
Somebody asked a question. Now you are the coordinator.
A lot of people have come to realize that we have a president who is compassionate, who has feelings for fellow Nigerians, and who has committed his entire life to serve this country, to pursue the well-being and welfare of the Nigerian people. A president who is passionate about education. A man who realizes that it is only by educating the Nigerian people that they will also have the opportunity of leading this country.
And now the All Progressive Congress has advised the people of Southeast Nigeria against putting all its egg in one political basket. This according to party chairman John Odigi Oyegun, is because the region has had not enough benefit to justify its long-standing support for the People's Democratic Party. He said this in Abuja while commending the Igbo Delegates Assembly for endorsing the APC presidential candidate.
You are some of the most dynamic people in this country, the most aggressive in a positive sense, business people. Nobody travels and settles the length and breadth of this country unless he believes in the nationhood of that country. And you have all planted yourselves in every single corner of this nation. So the survival of this nation, the prosperity of this nation must be of concern to all of you. For 16 years, the PDP has been in office. What we have got from that is that they have taken the nation for granted. For 16 years, the Igbos have almost 90% supported the PDP. You are being taken for granted. Because I don't know which of you here can name things that have specially come to you because of 16 years of loyalty. You have put yourself in a position where they will say, Ndigo, don't worry, they were there with us, it doesn't matter. They will come to us who are accusing them to come and bribe us to support them. They don't need to bribe. They don't need to do anything for you. You are already there. So why are you playing that kind of politics? Look at the Southwest. Southwest is 60-40. Why must the Igbo nation be 95-5? Why? Why is your bargaining power? So when the PDP wants funds for campaign, they will go and give PDP 1 billion. But they do come to us too and give us 250 million. That is the kind of politics that we want the Igbo race to. Please, please, please don't put your eggs all in one basket.
And now the Independent Democrat has announced claims of an alliance with the presidential candidate of the All Progressive Congress, Muhammadu Buhari. The party said this in reaction to a report in national newspaper that included the ID as one of the 13 political parties that have agreed to back the APC presidential candidate. Independent Democrats said in a statement issued by its National Director of Operations, Chidi that it stands on its position of adopting President Goodluck Jonathan as presidential candidate. Ike noted that the party had on December 11, 2014, adopted President Goodluck Jonathan at a national convention monitored by the Independent National Electoral Commission. And in what can be it targets Nigeria's most keenly contested presidential election, it is perhaps the first time the answer to the question is so dicey. The competition has recently narrowed down to the two main political gladiators, incumbent President Goodluck Jonathan of the People's Democratic Party and General Muhammadu Buhari of the APC. This time, the debate was not in the studio but on the street where correspondent Emmanuel Ajayi engaged two Nigerians holding different opinions.
When they are focused on the Buhari that is the old man, is dizzy, they are first started that he didn't have the certificate, he didn't have this, he didn't have that. There is not in, are they not in Nigeria in 2003 when he was contesting for president in 2003, the same thing in 2007, the same thing in 2011. They are not verified, are they not verified their certificate? By that time, that's Listen.
What I want you to understand is that Jonathan is the best government I've ever seen. He's being a young man and he can lead us to anywhere we want. Buhari has nothing to offer us. He's forging his result. Part of it, he has nothing to offer Nigeria. And I keep saying this to everybody. Jonathan is the man that we can trust.
The third citizen came with a chronicle of septuagenarian politicians in history, both in Nigeria and beyond, who contested for presidency.
1979, when Nnamdi Azikiwe contested for president, he was 75 years old. And 1983, when Awolowo contested for president, He was 84 years in age. And even Mandela was around 76 years when he became president. Even Reagan in America, he was 70 years. Even if we are talking about Abraham Lincoln was around 80-something years when he became president of America. And he contested for almost more than 20 times.
Now, the United Progressive Party says it will not accept another shift in the date of the election. This, according to the presidential candidate of the party, Chikwe Okorie, is because there is no basis for a further shift in the election date of the grounds of insecurity. He also backed plans by the Independent National Electoral Commission to use card readers for accreditation of voters.
The UPP is for the election to be held as scheduled. And UPP will urge INEC or even the government of the day, the PDP government, not to try any further provocation of the Nigerian people. The international community, all well-meaning nations of this world who are practicing democracy have cautioned Nigeria not to do anything that will bring a bigger problem than the one we are trying to solve. We opposed the postponement in the first place for this very reason. Because I remember I did say at that time that what happened, although we had accepted it, but what happened was a prelude. We suspected it to be a prelude to more sinister motives. And we cautioned that in the course of trying to solve a particular problem that one party is afraid to confront, they may create a problem that no party or what the parties put together may not be able to solve. And apparently our fears are beginning to be justified. All these opposition to card reader, wanting a shift in the date of the election and so on and so on, it's all coming from only one source. As for the 15 parties, I heard they said, read in the papers that they said they will boycott the election. Wonderful idea. I wish they can carry out their threat, and that will reduce the election to a more manageable proportion.
You're watching Court TV News at midday. We'll be back after this short break with more stories. Stay with us.
Morning, sir. How are you, Mr. President? How are you, sir? How is the campaign?
We must learn to live together as brothers, or perish together as fools. Martin Luther King, Jr.
If you just join us, this is Court TV News at midday, live from our Lagos studio. For more information on our news and other programs, like our Facebook page, is facebook.com/Court TV News. You can also follow at Court TV News NG. And for live streaming, log on to youtube.com/Court TV, leave a space, then news. And now the Lagos State chapter of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, hosted the party's governorship candidate, Jimmy Agbaje, on Friday at a dinner to honor him. The event was a roll call of party chieftains and supporters. Our correspondent Oluwaseyi Adegoke was there and now reports.
It was an affair of dignitaries from across board, all under the aegis of the People's Democratic Party, to dine with the party's governorship candidate, Jimmy Agbaje. The chairman of the party in Lagos, Tunji Shele, says the party is happy to have Jimmy Agbaje as their candidate and that he is the right choice any day and any time.
The Genge that I know is a disciplined man. He's a man that will not tell you what he will not do. Politics or no politics, it will tell you exactly what it can do and what it cannot do.
Chairman of the fundraising committee, Leke Adefala, corroborates the party chairman.
The real change has been equally recognized for his commitment to the principles of good governance.
Man of the moment, Jimmy Agbaje says the people of Lagos would not be disappointed if elected.
I believe that I can make a significant difference in making Lagos more sustainably competitive and livable. We can no longer continue to take the tab of a mega city just on the basis of population. We need to address the issue of competitiveness and improve quality of life for Lagosians.
The party, however, urged the people of Lagos to ensure they collect their PVCs and vote for the PDP at all levels in the March 28 and April 11 elections coming in less than 2 weeks. Oluwaseyi Adegoke, Court TV News, Lagos.
And now security operatives are blaming the return of few queues in some parts of the country, the refusal by petrol tankers to load petroleum product from the south for distribution to the north for fear of being caught in post-election violence. The Department of State Services disclosed this in a statement issued by its spokesperson, Marilyn Oga, in Abuja. She, however, said heads of security agencies have ordered appropriate security cover for tanker drivers in the run-up to the election. Meanwhile, security operatives have arrested the wife of a suspected Boko Haram leader after a raid on a house in Kaduna metropolis. They also recovered a number of arms ammunition from the suspect's home. The raid was carried out by a combined team of soldiers and state security personnel on Thursday night at Rafindad, Guza, a densely populated area. The suspected Boko Haram leader, identified as Mohammed Mai Boronu, was said to have escaped, but eyewitnesses confirmed to Court TV News that his wife was taken into custody. And now Borno state-born pastor who accused the Christian Association of Nigeria of collecting 7 billion naira from President Goodluck Jonathan to campaign against the presidential candidate of the All Progressive Congress, Muhammadu Buhari, Kalamu Musa Dikwa, has raised alarm over what he described as threat to his life by operatives of the Directorate of State Services. While insisting that the Christian body collected the said amount, Dikwa disclosed that the DSS had forced him to sign a document which they will use against him to prove to the entire world that the president did not bribe Khan to work against the presidential candidate of APC. Dikwa said the DSS planned to use the document, which he was made to sign under duress in some national dailies, to portray him as telling lies against the body of Christ. The cleric noted that all these were in addition to pleas from other Christian leaders, especially the Abuja Khan chairman, to deny that the Christian body collected the said amount. The cleric, who spoke to newsmen in Kaduna, said that after the DSS operatives had threatened or treated him like a common criminal, they forced him to sign a document to deny what he had said. He added that since he broke the news to the Nigerian people of how the Christian body collected 7 billion naira to work against Buhari, his life had been under threat. They explained that as soon as he finished addressing newsmen on the alleged bribe, the DSS invited him to reach headquarters in Abuja and asked him to say that Khan did not collect a kobo from the president. And our Senate President David Mark is concerned over the level of devastation and killings in Egba community of Agatu local government area of Benue State after a recent invasion by armed men suspected to be Fulani herdsmen. Mark, who was on the spot assessment of the wreckage, liking what he saw to genocide. He said the action of the perpetrators is nothing but absolute criminality which must be addressed as such. The Senate President told his heartbroken constituents that President Goodluck Jonathan had, during the last Security Council meeting, set up a panel to investigate the mayhem. It therefore concerns the people to continue to maintain peace as government has enough apparatus to deal with the situation in a way that would bring justice to all concerned. Senator Mark also visited the makeshift tent house, seeing some injured survivors of the attack as well as internally displaced persons. He later visited the site where the murdered persons were said to have been given mass burial. This is Midday News on Core TV News. We'll take another break and I'll be back with more stories outside Nigeria. Stay with us.
The army was not supposed to be visible or to be around any polling unit unless there is a breakdown of law and order and they have been invited by the Inspector General of Police.
That elections are sheltered in Africa is no news. But in Nigeria, it comes with consequences.
Against the will of one man.
Consequences that have toggled the nation's politics and may shape how Nigeria elects.
This is the year of PDP.
The momentum gathers.
When we promise, we deliver.
The fireworks is unending.
We did it and continue to do it.
55 years this year, and in her fourth republic, this is Nigeria's 5th general elections. All the action, all the news, the updates, and the news behind the news we will bring to you live from the field and in the studio on Core TV News as Nigeria elects.
And outside Nigeria now, millions of people in the UK and Northern Europe have glimpsed the best solar eclipse in years. A great swath of the Earth's surface was plunged into darkness as the moon came between humanity and the sun. From an aeroplane above the Faroe Islands, a camera crew captured startling footage of the event reaching totality at 9:41 GMT. A deep shadow formed first in the North Atlantic and then swept up into the Arctic and then the North Pole. And it's a wrap at Midday News. Many thanks for watching. I am Frank Omalape. Join us at top of the hour for more news stories. Thanks for watching.